Okay, welcome back to Conversations with Tech and Learning. My name is Kevin Hogan. I'm contributing editor. I'm happy you found us here today. And with this episode, I'm talking with Marlon Styles Jr. He's an award-winning former superintendent and author of a recent book named Make Your Move. He also happens to be keynoting the Tech and Learning Northwest Summit in Seattle this February 25th. Now, if you want to feel in a good mood, all you have to do is talk with Marlon for about 10 minutes. His enthusiasm is infectious. You can see his passion for his work is genuine and authentic. Now, his message, stop focusing on strategic planning and start elevating strategic decision-making. Now, what does he mean by that? He talks about breaking the inner circle habit, for example, where you're bringing the same people into the same meetings every time, regardless of whatever expertise they have. At the summit, he promises to show how to leverage other expertise across your leadership team as well as the district. He also talks a little bit about using agentic AI as a strategic partner, which should be interesting. So his big picture doesn't just come out of the ether. He's a distinguished district award winner. He's put together esports teams in urban environments. He's put together immersive reality for struggling algebra students, but really only after identifying actual problems first. His philosophy, technology is a creative amplifier, not a driver. He believes that leaders need aspiration and ambition, dreams plus drive to execute. So enough about me explaining him. I'd like you to click through and listen to the words from the man himself. Okay, Marlon, thanks so much for meeting with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, really excited to be here, Kevin. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the space.
And believe it or not, I do some due diligence before these things. It's not just completely off the cuff. And one of the many reasons why I was looking forward to speaking with you is just kind of your unbridled optimism, I guess, both through the work that you did as an educator, as well as your most recent book, and it's what you're going to be talking about next month at the Tech and Learning Summit. Maybe we could just start off though and talk a little bit about your work as an educator and the awards you've been recognized as Superintendent of the Year. Your Middletown City Schools earned the Distinguished District Award, so you've got some cred in order to talk about these things you want to impress upon people. So maybe we can start there.
Yeah, just big believer in anything is possible when it comes to giving kids different kinds of experiences is to live their aspirations. I have been blessed, and I truly mean blessed, to be with some amazing teams, specifically at Middletown City Schools as the superintendent. We did some pretty amazing stuff for kids, but kids were at the center of everything we thought about doing and we tried to do. The staff had a great vibe to them about let's dabble in some different concepts and ideas and see if it gets the kids excited about falling in love with learning. We did some really neat things around technology. We had some really neat approaches to building capacity in teachers. We had an esports team in a high urban environment. As well as a number of other different areas that we lean into for technology. So yeah, the awards are great, don't get me wrong, but we celebrated them as a staff. More importantly, we really got excited about the kinds of experiences that our kids are starting to enjoy inside of our school system. That's the fun part.
And it seems to me, just what I've been reading about your work, is that the technology didn't necessarily lead things. It was used as an enabler to more of a culture. Can you talk a little bit about because we have an audience here who's obviously passionate about technology, but I think that there always needs to be that sort of balance between what's leading what, right?
Yeah, love the topic, right? So I too, probably just like the audience members listening, I consider myself a technology dork. Openly admitted, but love self-identifying as a technology dork. Now, with my technology dorkness, I get really excited about new ways to bring technology into education environments, but I always like to say in my team meetings, I like to slow conversation down to really get at the purpose about what we're trying to do with the kids, right? So for example, I love immersive reality. I love virtual reality. It's cool. It's fantastic. My dorkness starts to surface, and I'm really excited about the idea of our kids having their hands on it. But I need a purpose for that to show up inside of a classroom and have that technology really influence the kids' experience. So we'll do some inclusive design processes, trying to get at the core of what we're really trying to solve. And when the technology shows up as that creative amplifier, we start having conversation about what the right type of technology might be. For example, we were trying to solve some underperforming areas we had in Algebra 1, specifically with our Black male students. We got into some inclusive design conversations. The next thing you know, immersive reality starts to show up as a way for them to better access the learning inside of the classroom. So yes, it's a cool idea, but there's always a purpose and a reason for it to show up and play that creative amplifier role that technology does so well.
Fantastic. I mean, it seems that too you seem adept in taking big picture concepts and kind of making them practical. It seems with your book, like the framework of making your move is just kind of like, how do you help leaders go from that big picture to actual application in it on a day-to-day basis? Harder than it sounds, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer, and I wrote it in the book Make Your Move, which I'm excited to dive into here in just a few moments. But one of the key things that I really like to surface is really being intentional about what an ambitious person is. An ambitious person, in my mind, is someone who sees an end worth pursuing, and dares to believe they can actually pull it off. So kind of live that mantra, my professional career and personal career as well, but professionally, right? If there's an end worth pursuing, creating an experience for a child or children, right, we have to have the belief in our capabilities that we can actually pull it off. So I love in the book, we have a lot of conversation about how do we as educators, as professionals, how do we position ourselves to be successful? But also that same concept applies to any leadership team across the country. How does the team position themselves to be successful so they can live out the mission, vision, and values? So that mantra, right? You know, is there an end worth pursuing? But do you believe that you can actually pull it off? Is where you can really accomplish some pretty amazing things professionally and especially in education as you talk about serving kids.
Well, it certainly seems that when you're talking about educators and education leaders and administrators, there are a few positions that have more challenges in terms of working with the wider community. Of course, you have the students who are the number one priority, but you're also talking about managing a faculty. You're also talking about parents and the wider community. Some states, some districts, you're talking about unions, which always can make for interesting challenges, let's say, as well as kind of the bigger picture in terms of the elimination of the Department of Education and what used to be the Office of Education Technology, which would always used to be a help in that. Can you give some advice and guidance? And this might be a little sneak peek into what you're going to be talking about next month, but your advice in navigating those waters for colleagues such as that are in this space who might be watching us right now.
Yeah, love the conversation. I get really excited a lot. So I'm gonna try to I kind of simmer down some emotions right now, but I love the dialogue we're having. At the core of the conversation, I think that you're kind of proposing here is I always like to start off with a couple questions. Number one, inside a school system, if I am a leader leading a school district or an executive team, I'm always asking ourselves the question. I'm engaging the community. I'm asking the question, who do we want to become and what are we capable of? Are two big driving questions, right? Who do we want to become? As you engage people in the process, which a lot of leaders who are listening right now do a really amazing job across this country, engaging community. Those insights we gain when we ask our communities, who do we want to become? It gives us a new North Star. It gives us a source of truth. It gives us a sense of direction about, how we're going to evolve ourselves in our school systems. That's the key piece, right? So as we navigate complex times, they're not so complex as long as we stay centered on what our community says that we want to become and what we're capable of, like part A. Part B, in the keynote I'm going to share at the upcoming summit, I'm diving into this conversation is how do we as executive leaders, how do we elevate our ability to make complex strategic decisions in our roles leading school systems. So I'm really looking forward to diving into the conversation, but strategic decision making, not strategic planning. I'm talking specifically strategic decision making, really being elevated in our practice can really be a game changer. So how do we capture the expertise inside of our school systems? B, how do we leverage that expertise around the specific strategic decision that we need to make? So what I'm proposing is we break a habit, and I have this habit, so I say shame on me. We break the habit of engaging the same inner circles to make strategic decisions in our systems, right? Inner circles meaning the same people show up to the table to make decisions. What I'm proposing in the keynote is that we really leverage expertise in a unique way and bring specific intentional expertise from our employee base to the table to help us engage in strategic decision making. Part B, part three, or part C. How do we collect intelligence across our school systems? I'm no longer saying that we need to be data-driven decision makers. I'm saying that we need to be really strategic about how we collect and interact with intelligence from across our system to better inform the kind of decisions that we might make. And then last but not least, good old fashioned AI, the creative amplifier in this whole equation. How might we engage agentic AI in a unique way with this specific set of expertise that we've convened to help us really make better strategic decisions? So really looking forward to the keynote. We're gonna have some deep dives into all those conversations and that content. And I cannot wait in Seattle to have a number of leaders have some follow-up conversation about those concepts.
Yeah, you just opened up a whole bunch of rabbit holes that we can go down. And it's unfortunately I only have about 15 minutes instead of, I'm not Joe Rogan, right? So we could go for 3 hours if we wanted to on learning management systems and the collection of data. If anybody else is interested in that, but I think there are a few. But really, just kind of maybe to finish up again, your optimism just resonates, just even over Zoom through this conversation, which is great for me because when I have these conversations, a lot of times the topics, I'm coming away with my glass half empty. I mean, things are, as you say, complex right now. Not just in the education, but in society in general. And as a leader, you have to deal with those sort of situations. Maybe you can talk about how, or just to give our readers, our watchers, our audience advice about kind of attaching to that sort of optimism on a kind of a day-to-day basis on a Tuesday morning when the snow day is over and it's a 2-hour delay.
Yeah, they say often, I think I said in the book also, right? The prerequisite to success is belief, right? The mindset that we can actually pull this off. And we've got, collectively, we've unified our thoughts. We've got a really strong sense of togetherness that we can actually do this, a belief. We can navigate complex situations. We can navigate complex times if we believe that we can actually pull off what we imagine we're capable of and who we want to become. I said that before, but to extend to your question, I will say this: I'm a big believer, not just in belief, but if we have aspirations on how we can meet the dreams of our kids, right? Aspirational, that's half the battle. The other half of the battle, right, is do we have the ambition, the internal drive to push through the hard times, the internal drive to put a high value on a collaborative culture, the internal drive to actually pull off what we said we were going to do. So that sense of aspiration and ambition make a wonderful pair when you combine them together. That's why in the book I talk a lot about positioning ourselves to be successful. So for the listeners out there right now, I don't believe it's just a dreamy plan. Yes, I live in 100,000 feet above the ground, but I also enjoy boots on the ground, getting the hands dirty, which means that we're setting plans, we're setting direction, we're communicating with people, we're engaging different bodies who have different expertise to leverage that in unique ways. But more importantly, we're really putting kids at the center of everything we do, and we're listening to what their aspirations are And the easy part is if you're willing to listen to what the kids have on their hearts and their minds, we can design any type of experience as long as we know that's what the kids are looking for. So complex times, yes. Difficult times, yes. But at the end of the day, we're all educators. And one thing educators do really well is we design some pretty cool experiences for kids. So yes, I seem optimistic, but I know at the heart of what we do best is we're designers of experiences. So if we can just lean on our roots and the fabric of who we are as educators, as long as we're willing to listen to the kids, yeah, I do believe we can make any move that we put our mindsets to as a profession. That's what we're good at.
It's great stuff, Marlon. Thank you so much again for your time. Congratulations on the work that you've done and in terms of helping kids. And I think your insights here will continue to inspire districts and leaders across the country. And I look forward to not only digging in deeper to your book, but also getting the details on the keynote next month. I think it's going to be great.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And excited to see everyone in Seattle.
So you agree with me, right? A really uplifting, energetic personality and education leader, which I think could inspire all of us here at Tech and Learning. And if you want to get more of Marlon's insights, he'll be doing the keynote at Tech and Learning's Northwest Summit in Seattle on February 25th. There'll be a link here, obviously, for you to go and find more information about that. He's going to be diving deep into strategic decision-making, breaking inner circles, and again, agentic AI. So thanks to Marlon, and thanks to all of you for listening, and we'll see you next time.